I apologize about that. My phone decided that it was not going to accept the video any longer. So I'm going to continue with the flow chart here, which is it's going to follow through the introduction of the antigen. It's going to follow through the innate immunity, which we talked about first, which is the skin, mucous membranes, all of that portion of it. And then after, if the antigen is able to get past that portion of it, the first and second lines, then we begin the process of going through the PAMPs and the phagosomes. And then after that, they are the degradation of the antigen, and then MHC binds to it, and then there's two processes for that. There's actually three, but one of them is more included through T and B cell uses, which we'll talk about here in just a minute. But the first one is the exogenous microbials are bound by the MHC class 2, which goes through phagocytosis and then is removed. And then these processes are just dependent upon the microbe, what is going on. So the endogenous microbials, which is the reaction that we talked about that happens inside the cell, so like viruses, anything that's been attached to the cell goes through and is then endogenous, binds to is bound to MHC class 1. If it goes through MHC class 1, then the T lymphocytes are used. Those are created through the lymph nodes or through the lymph system, and that the TCR, which is the T cell receptors, which are very unique for each T cell, is only able to find and be able to attach to one antigen. So if it is able to attach, so then it is cytotoxic T cells, which are regulated by helper T cells, bind by the antigen, and then they undergo apoptosis in the thymus after they return from wherever they were in the body back to the thymus. If they do not undergo apoptosis, they become regulatory T cells, which is very useful for the body because then they are the production of more antibodies, which we'll talk about. Or the, not antibodies, but the following process to create epitopes throughout the process. So that takes us to B cells, which B cells secrete immunoglobulin and create antibodies. And then B cell, which takes us to the next part, which is B cells and antibodies bind to the antigens and then go through apoptosis, or are followed through and then go through the process of becoming more antibodies if they are found useful, or if B cells, the thing that's interesting about B cells is they have two antigen binding sites, which allows them to go through the process twice instead of just once, compared to T cells, because once T cells bind their initial time, they are stuck and they either go through cellular death versus becoming regulatory T cells. And then cytokines are interesting because they are used by T and B cells to communicate throughout this process, to let the T and B cells know where to go, what's going on, what is happening with them, and then following that process. And then this is a continual process from creation to activation to deletion over and over and over. So yeah, I will make sure that my PowerPoint and this is available. Thank you.